Hi, this is Tim. Welcome to Tim Can Cook. So today we're going to be making tomato sauce. And we're going to make tomato sauce and a byproduct called tomato water or tomato stock. Something I absolutely love to cook with. I used it on the pork neck video, which you can find linked right up here. Though this is the winter and I normally don't buy tomatoes in the wintertime, I went to an international market that had a sale. They had overbought tomatoes and they had a whole bunch. So I got these for 69 cents a pound. It's a very, very good price in the winter. And I'm going to show you how to make them in the Champion Juicer. Now normally when you make tomato sauce, you would blanch the tomatoes, peel them, core them, remove the seeds, and then cook down the flesh. That would go into a pot for several hours, boiling away. All that beautiful moisture would be boiled out. The tomato sauce will actually get a little bitter, which is why most tomato sauce recipes actually have you add sugar. We're not going to do that here. What we're going to do here, using the Champion Juicer, which is a masticating juicer, is we're just going to quarter these tomatoes. If they have a large stem, we'll remove it. Then we're going to run these through the juicer, and what will happen is the masticator, which masticate just means chew. So this is a juicer that replicates what a mouth would do by chewing the tomatoes. And it's going to save a bunch of pulp. It's going to save all the juice. And it's going to give us a wonderful product to go forward with and make some incredibly fresh tomato sauce. Once you've made tomato sauce like this, you'll never buy it out of a can or make it any other way. So we'll go ahead and turn on this beautiful Champion Juicer. These things haven't changed model. The model hasn't changed in more than 50 years. I did just find out they are out of production, but you can still find them all over the place. I bought this one used for $35. I added the tomato screen, which is a large hole screen, so that we capture the pulp. This thing will run. My grandchildren will still be using this juicer. These are just that good. So we'll go ahead and run some of these tomatoes through here so you can see what this looks like, and then I'll continue processing the rest of them. It's a very fast process. I can do a bushel of tomatoes in about 30 minutes. Obviously I don't have a bushel here, but as you can see, I'm getting a lot of great juice and pulp coming out of the bottom of the juicer, and I'm just getting a little bit of byproducts here. And what I will do once I process the rest of these is I will actually run these byproducts through one more time, give them a second chance to give up their goodness, and then we'll move on to the next step. So now I won't make you watch me do this. I'll process the rest of these tomatoes, and we'll be back in just a minute. So as we're coming in on the final ones here, you can see the pulp. Now this pulp is the skin and the seeds, and we've had quite a lot of juice. We've practically filled this pan with the juice. I'm always amazed at how much juice I get out of the bowl of tomatoes this way. You get significantly more juice like this than you do with the standard method. And this will separate into tomato sauce, tomato paste, it's kind of in the middle, and tomato water. And we'll do that in just a minute on the stove. During season, I will go to farmer's market towards the end of the day. So if they're open till 5 or 7 at night, I'll go at 4, 6, somewhere in there. And I can always find one of the farmers with tomatoes who's got a whole bunch he doesn't want to take home. I'll offer him 50%, whatever he's asking, and I can usually get a bushel or more, quite often very, very cheaply. Farmer doesn't want to take them back. I'll take all the bruised ones, all the damaged ones that he's not going to sell anyway, and they make great tomato sauce. So you can do this very, very cheaply in season. This is actually quite cost effective because I got these at such a great price. I am going to run this pulp back through. You can see that this pulp is actually quite dry, but I'm going to run this pulp back through one more time. Then we're going to take this over to the stove where we are going to bring it to a boil and let it run for about 30 minutes. So I'll see you over at the stove in just a minute. So here we are at the stove. We're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to simmer it for 30 minutes. Now, I'm often asked when I tell people how to do this, do you need a champion juicer? No, you don't need a champion juicer. What I would recommend, though, is a masticating juicer and one where you can have a large screen. You want the pulp. So most modern juicers are built so you get no pulp, just the juice. Everything else goes in the waste. In this case, we want the pulp. So you need a large screen that lets the pulp go through. I ran the waste one more time in that last run. You could see that bowl of waste I had, and I got almost a half a bowl of juice out of that waste. So again, we're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to let it go for about 30 minutes. Then we're going to let it cool on the stove for an hour before our next process. So I will be back in about an hour and 40 minutes, and we'll show you the next step in this process. So as this comes to a boil, you just want to simmer it for about 30 minutes. And, don't keep the heat too high. You don't want to scorch it. But 30 minutes on simmer, then we'll let it rest for an hour, cool down, and then we'll do our next process. I forgot to mention the pulp that was left over from our juicer. Makes great chicken feed if you got chickens or pigs. Pigs love it. If you don't, put it in the compost pile. It does a wonder in your compost. Tomatoes are a little acidic, so you don't want to ever put the tomato waste directly on plants, but it does great in the compost pile. Anyway, we'll see you back here after this has simmered for 30 minutes and then had a chance to cool for an hour. Okay, so our puree has cooked for 30 minutes, which kills all of the potential bacteria in the tomatoes. It doesn't really cook the tomatoes very much, just a little bit, but it does make them safer to can, which we're going to do in just a few minutes. It's cooled for an hour, which means it's still warm, but it's easy to handle now. So the next step is we're going to strain this. Now, this standard sieve is too large to strain out the water and not lose some sauce, but a cheesecloth is way too tight. So what I've discovered is if I ladle a couple of scoops of the sauce into the strainer, this becomes now a very effective strainer. So it's already done better than I expected. So usually there's a little bit of sauce in here, but right now it's all just tomato water, which is exactly what we want. So the process here, and you know what, I'm not going to make you watch this, but the process here is to very gently add ladlefuls of the tomato to the sieve. The tomato water will drip through. The sauce will stay in the sieve. And once all of the water has dripped out of the sauce, then we'll pour the sauce off into another container where then we will can both the tomato sauce and the tomato water. So this process is going to take me about 20 minutes for this much sauce. I won't make you watch it, but we'll come back here in a few minutes when this process is complete, and then we'll show you the next steps. But we're almost done, and I can tell you this is the best tomato sauce you will ever eat. It is so tomatoey, you'll never go back to a store-bought sauce after you do this. So bear with me, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. Okay, I've switched away from that juice container because this strainer fits these pots much, much better. I know you can't see what's going on here, but I'm just gently adding sauce to the strainer, and the sauce is the water is working its way down through the sauce into the container below. And basically, I gently fill this up and then wait till it stops dripping. When it's stopped, I will pour off the sauce into another container and then repeat the process until we have strained off all of the tomato water and we only have sauce, which is, again, just luxurious, incredibly tomato flavored, and then our tomato water. So next time I come back, we'll show you the next step in the process, which is canning both the sauce and the tomato water. This is not pressure canning, just hot water canning, so you can do it without any special equipment. All you need is the canning jars, the ball jars lids, and boiling water, and a little bit of ascorbic acid. So we'll talk about that further in just a minute. So this process will take about 10 minutes to finish, and then I'll be back. Okay, so we've finished straining out our sauce. You can see the sauce is very, very thick. It is almost tomato paste. Flavor is intense, beautiful flavor. We have 2.5 quarts of tomato water. Had we done sauce the classic way, we'd have boiled all that off. What a huge waste. The flavor in that tomato water is unbelievable. In fact, we're going to make what are we going to make? We're going to make a clear tomato soup, which is really interesting. People never understand why the tomato soup itself is so clear and so tomatoey. So we're going to do that in a future show. And then we're also going to make we'll do a couple of other dishes with it. My brain is a little bit tired at the moment. So you can see we got 2.5 quarts of the tomato water, and we got just almost 1.5 quarts of sauce. So these are going to be hot water canned. You can see the canner back behind me. The water can come out after 15 minutes. The sauce needs to be in there for 30, so we'll just do the whole thing for 30. Before we do that, we just need to add a couple of things. For the tomato water, it needs to get a 1/4 teaspoon of salt per quart or per pint. So that's 1/2 teaspoon per quart. And I'm not worried about mixing this up because when it gets in the hot water bath, it will clearly do that. And then 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid, half, again, 1/4 teaspoon per pint, so 1/2 in the quart jars. And the citric acid also needs to go into the tomato sauce. And this just helps preserve. This will stay good on the shelf for years, as long as the jar seals stay properly. Again, I'm not worried about mixing it up. So when it goes into the bath, in the boiling water inside the canner, all of this will mix up and churn, and it'll be great shape. So next step is to sanitize the lids, get going with the canning process, and we'll do a whole show on canning, both hot water canning and pressure canning in the future. For now, this is a very simple canning process. I just need to sterilize the lids, get them in the hot water bath, and so we'll be back here in about 40 minutes with the completed product. So this is the hot water canning process. We're about a third of the way through our 30 minutes. As you can see the little bubbles coming out of the actual jars, these are the jars forming a vacuum. So as the lids are on just tight enough to keep the water out, the heated air inside the jar escapes. So as we are doing the hot water canning, which we can get away with tomato sauce because it's very acidic, you know, we added that citric acid to it for a little extra assurance. Once these things come out of here, and again, they can go in the cupboard for years. Mine won't last that long, but it's a fascinating process. We're about a third of the way through it. So here we have our finished tomato sauce and tomato water. Again, the tomato water is a pure bonus from this process. Incredible tomato flavor, surprising to your guests. We'll be making some tomato risotto in a very upcoming, very soon show. You will probably notice, if you're paying attention, that this small jar is a little more full than it was. That's because you can't can a jar that's only 3/4 full. So I had to add a little tomato water to that jar to bring it up, but that's fine. Tomato water added to the tomato sauce is very nice, actually. Remember, this tomato sauce has no seasoning in it whatsoever. It's pure tomato flavor, incredible tomato flavor. You can season it for whatever dish you're making. It's not predisposed to make pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce. Yeah, it can go in any tomato dish. I hope you enjoyed this show. It's funny for calling these things a show, but you know, sometimes I feel that way. Look, if you did, please subscribe. Share this with your friends. Help me grow the channel. And you know, think about making your own tomato sauce like this. I've invested about $3.50 in tomatoes here off season. During the season, it would be half that. I'll spend $10 and get 6 quarts during the season. So I was out. I was happy to make this, happy to find the find that I had. The beautiful thing about canning is you can take advantage of those special finds, and I do it all the time. So we'll do a canning episode in the near future. Again, I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again next time on Tim Can Cook.